Going for it, Johnny?
Take two.
Sorry, John.
Hi, evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Length Does Matter, the cricket podcast. Got myself, Johnny Hayes, my honourable co-host, Chris Rushworth, and our adopted co-host, Graham Foxy Fowler, and our guest tonight, Kyle Coetzer. How's it doing, Kyle? All right?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to having a bit of a chat and a catch up, and yeah, great to be here. Well,
Good
there,
stuff.
here. Well, depends how you want to put it, eh?
Good stuff. Foxy, how we doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, not bad for an old git.
Lockdown treating you well, or no difference?
I have to admit, I found the second lockdown. I mean, I've been in since March the 12th, right? But I found the second one harder. And I think mainly that's because there's hardly any daylight. It's bloody freezing. And I have struggled a bit. I have to confess. But I'll not be on my own, will I?
No, definitely not, mate. And obviously, this one being this podcast tonight is the first one of 2021, Rushy. So happy New Year to all of our listeners, all of our viewers. It's not going to be a great start of the year, we get that. But having said that, we've been getting our heads together this week, and we've got lots of plans, Rushy, isn't that right?
Yes, mate. We've got lots lined up, lots to look forward to. Just looking back on the start of Length Does Matter, so at the back end of 2020, we recently found the Apple reviews. And
we got in the charts, you know.
We're in the Foxy. I don't know if you know this, Foxy, but Johnny's found all the sort of cricket podcast charts for around the world and stuff. And
okay.
we've managed to reach the top 10.
Yeah.
So we started off pretty well.
Yeah.
So where are we?
We peaked at number 8. And I don't know where we're currently at, because Rushy seemed to think I was getting a little bit obsessed because I was checking them every day, right?
Every day.
I was putting them in there.
I understand that zeal though, because when I published a book, I didn't know you could find charts.
Oh, I didn't.
But my publisher told me, "Oh, you're this number on this account, you this number on this," and you can't help it, but you just
you get excited, don't you?
Yeah, you want to find out.
That'll be like Rushy when he's checking how many wickets he's got in the season, is it?
I know that, mate. I know that's
where is the MVP points, Rushy? Where are your MVP points? You'd be up checking after every innings, are you?
Oh no, not MVP, not anymore. Way down the list on that these days.
We'll get over that later, Kyle. But what comes with the charts though is reviews. Now, Rushy, you found a review on Let's Does Matter podcast, didn't you?
We've had some 5-star reviews.
Yeah, we've had loads,
which have been really good. But we come across one which we're going to read it out because it's very comical, and we quite like it. It's obviously someone who listens to the show or watches us, but just thinks it needs a little bit of tweaking. So I'll read the full review out and see what you'd make of this. So this is from Ali. Needs tweaking, but the concept is a winner. Have followed since the beginning, and the basic premise of a casual chat with characters of county cricket with anecdotes about cricket people and events is very appealing. The one area of concern for me is that the hosts are sadly not up to the job. I fully appreciate the difficulties that COVID Zoom calls present, and I'm prepared to make allowances when listening to the end product. But the two Geordie lads, I don't know about you, Johnny, but I'll take offence to that because I'm not from Newcastle. Yeah. And neither are you.
No.
But we'll go on. The two Geordie lads hosting this are devoid of any presence, personality, and a lack of presenting skills. Fine, we'll take it on the chin. Chris Rushworth is an excellent county cricketer who comes across as Carl Pilkington on Valium. Whilst this is the best bit. Whilst the other chap comes across as the local Starstruck Bin Man who's popped in for a cup of tea and a biscuit.
That's whilst it being very comical, it's very unfair. I mean, if you invite somebody like me on, or Steve Kirby or Traego, you two are not going to get a word in because we're gobshites and we just take over. You're very calm and collected and organised, So, I mean, if Kyle and I wanted to start a discussion, you two, I know what you like. You just sit back and let us carry on. So that, whilst that being a very comical review, it's very unfair. Michael Parkinson was probably one of the best interviewers I've ever heard. And all he did was fire them up and sit back and let them go.
Let them go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not you Jonathan Rosses who always interrupts and fucking says stuff. No. You're doing a great job, you two. And now, Kyle, you'll be pleased to know I'll shut up.
The last sentence does finish with a little bit of positivity. However, despite its obvious shortcomings, it's got the potential to evolve into a podcast that will entertain and retain a niche following moving forward.
Well, look.
So,
do you know what it is? I was when we were saying that last night, right? I was mildly amused. I'm not going to lie, right? I don't know how many fucking bin men this chap's met. Particularly starstruck bin men. I've never met a starstruck bin man in my entire life. I find all that stuff quite humorous. And look, I think for anybody who does listen to this podcast, right, me and Rushy, right, we're not presenters. This is our podcast. Unfortunately, no one's going to sack us unless we sack ourselves. We're not going to choose to present this.
It's a great title for a podcast, isn't it? The Starstruck Bin Man.
Starstruck Bin Man.
Yeah, I thought length does matter was all right, but the Starstruck Bin Man. I might create a spin-off, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think you could do well with a spin-off. But yeah, you might have to get.
You need an understudy, like Batman and Robin. You need if you're the Starstruck Bin Man, you need Recycle Man.
Blue Bin Man.
Blue bin boy.
Anyway, to be honest, Foxy, when he talks of Starstruck Bin Man, I wasn't sure whether he was talking about me or you, pal. To be completely
probably me actually, and I'd be flattered.
The only thing I did take offence to was the fact that I was called a Geordie. Now, as a proud Mackem, right? I'm not having anyone call me a Geordie, right?
You see, so, regional differences, we have to get rid of them. Right? I'm Lancastrian, and everybody's always told me that if they're Lancastrian, they hate Yorkshiremen and they hate Yorkshire. And I've always thought that was rubbish. We're all we're Northerners, and it doesn't matter where we come from. I mean, when I went to university, I was called a Southerner because I came from Lancashire, and that upset me for a while. But then I realised it doesn't matter where you come from or what tag is attached to you. You're bigger than the tag.
Yeah. Where'd you go to university? Norway.
Kyle, you're a Northerner.
I was going to say I've been picked on for years with this crowd down here, hanging around Rushy and all his mates. They never let me off the hook for one day. Every day.
Did they not?
No, never for one day. I know it was pretty harsh, but I loved it really. But yeah, just going back onto that review quickly, it might be a suggestion to try and get your double on Carl Pilkington, Rushy. It might.
We'll try. I think he's a bit bigger than us, though.
Get the reviews up as well. Get you up to number 6, possibly 5 or 6 in the review list.
Hey, but all jokes aside though, if anyone does listen to us on iTunes and stuff like that, all the reviews, all the ratings, all that kind of stuff, like we do massively, massively appreciate it. Like we just started this podcast kind of not on a whim, but kind of we set out to make a podcast. We're not polished presenters. We never set out for the podcast to be polished and this, that, and the other. And it's, it's not for everyone, but we definitely feel like, the good outweighs the bad on this podcast. So any reviews, like I say, favourable, preferably, unfavourable.
We're basically four blokes in the pub who we're not allowed to be in a pub.
Yeah, 100%. That's exact. That
was the idea.
Exactly.
That was the whole idea. But anyway,
so, go on.
No, go on, Foxy.
What are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, we are going to talk about something. We'll get onto that. We'll get onto that in a bit, Foxy. All right, because what we want to do, Foxy, right? Every week or every fortnight or whenever we record, Foxy's topics. Right?
My topics.
This is a new feature. This is going to be your feature.
Foxy's topics. When you get your fucking audio to work.
Well, I've managed it, so let's get on with it.
Now you're in.
Yeah. But anyway, Kyle Coetzer.
Are we going to do that later on?
Yeah, we'll do it later, eh?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we'll do it later, right? Because it is a good one. I think it does deserve a bit of time, and
yep.
I think given we've got Kyle on tonight as well, I think the topic itself is a really, really relevant, really, really valid one. But anyway, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time tonight. How's it going? How's everything going in your world?
Yeah, everything's okay, really. We've all got our own little challenges at the moment, and homeschooling and whatnot. But yeah, we're all fit and well, so there's no complaints there. Got out in the snow today, dragged the kids around the sledge. Doesn't get much better than that, other than it probably being sludge rather than sledge around Elba Park today. But yeah, things are fine, mate. Just trying to ease in the new year, and I guess easing in's going to be slightly different this year because we can't actually go outside hardly.
How are you managing to sort of keep motivated for your fitness?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I randomly started doing stuff in the first lockdown, actually, and I'll be honest, I've done more running probably in the first lockdown on my own than I did in my whole career on my own, I reckon, because I've never been one to do much of the running. I'm a people person, you see, so I like to be around people. When I do my fitness and stuff, I like to be around others to help me along. So what I started doing is putting on a different shirt, a bit random, but you find all these different shirts around your house, and so I started looking them out. Right, I'll run for that one, I'll run for that one, I'll just say a few words about each shirt, and that kept me going for a while. But if I flip this camera around, which well, if I did want to flip it around, but I'm not going to, but I've actually got some weights and a bench and everything behind here. So the bar is this side and the weights and stuff are that side. So I can stay hydrated whenever I'm having a session quite easily. So it's quite convenient, about 2 meters away. So when we were allowed to train and stuff, I went up north and the S&C came to me and says, "Kyle, come here." I was like, "All right, can you put your seats down in your car?" I was like, "Why?" He opened the boot of one of the teammates next to us and he just started piling this gym kit into the back of my car. So I think he started to realize that maybe I wasn't hitting the gym as much as I should have done. So
thank God for that. Thank God for that. Thank God I thought you'd gone dogging. Anyway, carry on.
Just we were chatting about like where people are from and stuff just before. There is a common misconception with you, isn't there, Kyle? Obviously, with your name and stuff, everyone instantly thinks South African. Yeah. But you are as Scottish as they come, born in Aberdeen.
Yeah. Born in Aberdeen, learnt my cricket in and around there, various different clubs. Went to school in Aberdeen. Saying that, my two elder brothers were both born in South Africa, and both my parents were born in South Africa. But as you can probably probably tell by my accent, although my parents try and tell me I've picked up a bit of a local accent around here, around the northeast, but I'm not convinced. My sort of dull Scottish tones, you can hear them quite powerfully, I reckon. But yeah, Aberdonian through and through, really, with a mix of a bit of South African blood, probably. But I see myself being Scottish. I almost see myself being a little bit local to the area here, Rushy. I've been around here probably half my life.
Absolutely. I mean, we've known each other for 20 years-ish when you came down to the academy.
Kyle, quick question, mate. Did Rushy have hair when you first met him?
Well,
so did he.
Well, I seem, come back to me now, I seem to remember Rushy's nickname being the Brillo Pad, actually, because he had pretty much hair everywhere, let alone on the top of his head. So, yeah, he did, and I probably did at the same time. So I don't know, something flagged up in my memory earlier today. We played a game against Lancashire years and years ago, and I can't remember, Rushy, whether it was before you had a break from the county game, or it was on your return. I can't remember, but we played a game against Lancs, and Rushy's doing his thing, pitching up, trying to nick people off, and then they had Mark Turner and so running, steaming in, bowling absolute gas. Can you remember this game, Rushy? And Tina started bumping all these guys, didn't he? And it was, who was he bumping? He was bumping like Stephen Crook and Sad Mahmood.
Was it Burnley? This would have been at Burnley, was it?
Is it Burnley? It might have been Burnley. I can't remember the name of the ground. And I just remember Tina loving it, and because he bowled quick, didn't he, back in the day? Yeah. And he thought it was great fun because he's hitting all these blokes, and then I'm standing there at like wherever I was fielding in the day, probably short leg, because I used to get.
Was that when Stephen Crook played for them? And he bowled rockets.
Yeah. I just remember. And then Tina came in, so I managed to stay in. I must have batted for like 30 overs or something, grafting to like 50 or something. And Tina's getting badges left, right, centre, and they're like laughing at him because he was just bombing them when he was in. But I think that might have been one of the. That might have been one of the last times we played together. No, when you came back, actually, we might have played a little bit because I didn't stay much longer, I don't think.
Do you know what it is?
A few years.
It's actually funny you mentioned Mark Turner, because I remember vaguely once sharing a cricket pitch with Rushy and with Mark Turner.
Yeah.
And you've got and this was when Rushy had a little bit of hair. Right? And then Rushy's in bowling. And I remember it was at Whitburn, and Rushy, you had a bit of a flick in your hair.
Stylish, trendy.
It was quite windy.
A bit of colour in his hair as well, didn't he? Always dyed.
So get this, Kyle, right? This is two lads who went on to play for professional cricket, right? You've got him, Chris Rushworth, running into the ball, wind flapping about in the hair. I just remember thinking, me, fucking one big gust of wind, that'll be a way of that. Mark Turner standing at bloody point, trying to catch midges, guy like that. These two going to be professional cricketers, these two. And actually, they both went on to have really good careers.
This is what we had to put up with.
Really good memory. I've got us playing cricket with them both.
Johnny, this is what we had to put up with all the time. I remember Mark Turner coming back one day, and he'd left. He'd gone to Somerset at the time, I think, and he came back, and he'd never been away on his own. And he came back, and he was like to his folks at home, he was like, "Where'd you put on the phone? Where'd you put the water in the washing machine? How do you get?" Classic Tina.
We're a great man.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very rude not to mention your award in the last sort of 10 days, Kyle. Associate Player of the Decade. Mate, congrats. That is a very, very, very special achievement. You must be massively proud of that, are you?
Yeah. It was a bit of a shock, to be honest. Hugely proud. But I guess you don't play the game for, with an award necessarily in the background. You sort of play to perform and compete and sometimes just have some fun with your mates. Sometimes that's what that's when you actually play your best cricket. And I've been fortunate over the years. There's been ups and downs like anyone, but yeah, that was class. Absolutely, really honoured to pick up that, and the votes go my way really, and it just shows I guess I've had a nice impact on the game, and hopefully I can have a solid impact moving forward as well. It's just, it's pretty special, to be honest.
Well, you mentioned and have an impact on the game and stuff. You also made the Queen's Honours list, mate. That's how much of an impact you've had. Again, Kyle Coetzer MBE. Mate,
yeah. I mean, we'll get these all out the way. Get these all out the way early doors, yeah.
Like, look back 20 years when you came down, started playing on the academy with us. Mike Hendricks brought you and Nicky down.
Yeah.
Here we are. Mate, you must be chuffed. I mean, never in your wildest dreams would you see someone like that coming.
Al, will you please explain to people who are listening and watching why you got the MBA?
Yeah, I got the MBE. I've actually got it on the wall here next to us, but
I didn't say where you'd put it, you twat.
Yeah, I know.
I said, why did you get it?
Basically contribution to cricket, contribution to sport, and Scottish sport in particular. So, yeah, I think the big influence and impact on that was perhaps the big build up towards the England game, which I'll speak about it if I have to, but. Yeah, the England game probably had a pretty big impact, but along the journey, obviously, I may have had a reasonable impact on trying to influence the associate game, the world game, but try and grow the game within Scotland. And I think that's where I was recognised for the award. So contributing.
There's only one word for that. Brilliant.
Thanks.
Absolutely. 100%.
Thanks, Foxy.
Brilliant.
It was though the second time I went to the Palace, and I think I probably went to the Palace the first time with you, Rushy. You've been a couple of times, haven't you? So I might have.
I've been once.
Have you? Yeah, and that
You've been to the Palace, Rushy.
Whenever you win the county championship.
Was that one of your part-time jobs when you in between?
Johnny,
as a bin man.
Johnny, have you ever seen the programme Have I Got News for You?
Once or twice, Paul. Aye.
Yeah, and they try and pick the odd one out.
Yeah.
My guess is you are. I'm just thinking you're the only one who's not been to the Palace.
Mate, I was a fucking beef eater, mate.
Well, I'm not so sure.
That
has different connotations from the part of the world where you live.
Have you been to the Palace as well, Foxy?
Yeah.
I need to get it.
1983 World Cup, and this is the most embarrassing thing that ever happened in my life, right? This is completely true.
After the story the other
right, I was going to say, because I've heard the Elton John story, right?
We had the World Cup in England in 1983. It was the Test and County Cricket Board, which became the ECB, didn't give a monkeys about the one-day international game. In fact, we still played 55 overs when the rest of the world played 50. So every other team in the world in that competition has a uniform. We, the England team, were told to buy a suit. So we've all got not the same suit, different suit. There's a beautiful photograph by Patrick Eager taken from the middle balcony at Lords of all the teams, and the captains at the front, and they all line backwards. Everybody's in the uniform apart from us. So we go to the Palace. I'm introduced to the Queen, Your Majesty, and she said to me, "Why don't you have a uniform?" Right? This is the Queen. I am the most embarrassed man in the world ever. What I really want to say is because our cricket board doesn't give a fuck about one-day international cricket, but I just tried to fob it off. How embarrassing that. You meet the Queen of your country and she asks you a question that you have no reply for. Anyway, that was the truth. That's the truth. But there we go.
When we were there, So when you win the county championship, Johnny, you get invited down so we met Prince Philip. So I went in 2013 when we'd won it. I'm guessing, Kyle, did you go 08 and 09?
Yeah, I went one.
But we went, and like I say, in 2013 we had quite a young team. I think Collie was a senior, and most of us were sort of mid-20s. So everyone was all stubbly, and or most people had stubble or beards and that. And as sort of Collie introduced himself to Prince Philip, shook his hand, Prince Philip turned round to him and said, "Does nobody own a razor in Durham?" He basically called us all scruffy bastards because we had stubble.
I once got
a lot worse than that, hasn't he?
I once got invited to speak at a dinner at Windsor Castle, and it was for the household guards cricket team, and I had to speak in front of the Duke of Edinburgh, who was sitting literally 10 foot straight in front of me. And I'd been warned all day about words you can't say, stories you can't tell. So anyway, it comes my turn, and to say that I'm a bit nervous. But the way I told some stories, you get to a certain point and you can either take it one way to the rude version or another way to a safe version. And every time I got to that point, he smiled and nodded at me. And I thought, yeah, all these people telling me to be careful all day long. He knows exactly what's going on.
He knows what's coming there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They're not silly, are they?
Yeah.
What else have we got down on the list? So Queen Honours. Also, Carl, rattling through your list here. It's a pretty impressive CV you've got going on. Even someone, I see you nearly every day at school. So Carl's daughter and my little boy are in the same class at school, so we see each other quite a bit. So when you actually look through his records and stuff, even still, it's amazing. First Scotsman to score 100 in a World Cup, 2015.
Yeah. That was.
Can you remember how many it was?
It was over 150. I know that.
I vaguely remember that.
It was. No one probably puts this into perspective, but it was the flattest pitch I've ever batted on. Like if you ever get a chance to play New Zealand, absolutely class. And Nelson, what a day that was.
Kyle, can I just say something to you as a former batsman? It doesn't matter what surface you're playing on, and it doesn't matter who you're playing against. You still have to do it. Yeah.
No, I get. There was. I'll be honest. I was under pressure early in the innings, and I thought, I need to do something here. And when I was under my most pressure, who comes on? And Shakib Al Hassan comes on to have a little roll from one end. I thought, oh, what am I doing here? And I thought, right, I'm going to try and use my feet, come down the pitch, and maybe knock him back over the head. It didn't pan out like that. I came down the pitch and I swept him. Like, whoever comes down the pitch and plays a sweep shot was a complete panic risk. And I got it away. I managed to thick edge it through the leg side somehow, bottom edge, and got 4. And I just went on from there. Sometimes it just takes one thing to get you going in the game, doesn't it? But yeah, class. 2015 World Cup as a general was one of my best experiences, other than winning the Friends Provident Trophy with Durham in 2007. It was so that was class, absolute class. Cheers to that, to the Durham boys.
Cheers, well done. Again, we've got another well done as well as that. I read this and I think this is a little bit controversial. Well, not controversial, but I'm not sure the information's fully right. You've gone from an Amstel to a red stripe, by the way.
Yeah, I was lucky. Oh, well, another one of the Durham people living around the area just happened to drop off a couple of red stripes at Christmas for us. So I got a red stripe.
All right, so this is against. So Scotland's first win against a full member nation against Zimbabwe. You scored 100.
Yeah.
But it says it was the first time a debutant captain had scored 100. But you've actually captained before that, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be honest, Rushy, that caught me off guard as well. When I saw that one day, I was like, was that the first game I captained? But it wasn't. I'd been captain before and sacked before, so it was
You were injured, mate. You were injured. We'll say you were injured.
Captain, then sacked, injured, sacked, and then back in. But yeah, it makes it sound even more impressive. They say it was a debut captain.
No, it did look good, but then further on, it sort of contradicts itself, the information. But that, though, as a Scotsman, as a proud Scotsman, to be part of the build-up and then to get a win against a full member nation, like everyone involved must have been like through the roof, emotions, pride.
Yeah, mate. I tell you what, like, to give you a bit of context to it. So, for us, you know, the top aim is to become a full member. Okay, so currently an associate member, we sit the tier below. For us to hit full member status, we have to tick a number of boxes. So, like the Irish, the criteria wasn't in place when Ireland and Afghanistan became full members. There was no criteria. It was, they've been doing pretty well for a while. Let's kind of give them, you know, they have to get voted through the board and through the ICC and stuff. So since then, they created a criteria. So we have to beat a number of top 10 nations, full member nations. So for example, if, say, we played someone, a full member that is 11th or 12th, that wouldn't count. So we have to beat top 10 full member nations in that individual format. So whether it be ODI or T20. So our aim constantly is to try and play a top 10 nation so that we can tick those boxes, because we've got to win. I think it's like in a 6 or 7 year period. I probably should know this, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. We have to win 4 games against a top 10 within a 7 year cycle or an 8 year cycle, perhaps. It can be in either format. But the issue with that is we don't always play the top 10 nations. So,
yeah.
But that's a challenge. But when we beat Zimbabwe, that was ticking a box, because we still had to beat a full member. So they're the challenges we have. But mate, that was a seriously good day. The game got really tight in the end, and a good catch in the boundary kind of saw us home. And 5 wickets from our late Condolanga, who helped us get us over the line in that day as well. So it was a pretty special day all around. Some really, really good memories.
Kyle, Scottish football and Scottish cricket are obviously independent of the rest of, the UK or England, should I say. Do you ever think that there may be a situation where Scotland cricket joins the ECB? Or do you think it's forever going to be us and them?
I think it's more likely to probably be us and them. That's my thought. It's not something I've ever considered, to be honest. I don't know. That was a bit of a left field question from what I've been asked before. But I think the fact that we're the top end of the tier below where England are. So to have Ireland, to have England, and potentially Scotland, whether it be in the next few years or whatever it may be.
See, I just think it's a shame that some of the best players have had to leave their own country to join the international team of England. I just think it would be incredible if Scotland, England and Northern Ireland joined together. I mean, if you look at the Olympics, we compete under GB, and I think that's fantastic. Now, I do understand that Scotland have got a great cricket organisation. I understand that Ireland produce great players, but they drain out somehow, don't they, some of them? Not all of them, but some of them. And I just wondered if there was ever going to be an opportunity where, rather than being separate, we were all together.
Yeah. Look, perhaps there's conversations going on around that already. Maybe. What's against maybe having like something similar to the British Lions when they'll go and tour with the rugby?
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
they pull together a side like that. I have actually going back a few years now. I was selected to play for an Associates 11 against England in Dubai, and it was a 4-day game, but I guess it was equivalent of a practice test match for England. And we had a mixture of some of the Afghan players, a mixture of some Irish. We were captained by Will Porterfield. There was a couple of Scots, a couple of Namibians. So that was a pretty good idea. I think the intention was for that to get off the ground and perhaps have a test associate team to play, and that would be pretty good. I guess
under current life situations, with travel being restricted and all the rest of the inhibiting factors, I think once the situation of the country lessens out a bit, why don't we have a Three Nations trophy, a triangular series, Scotland, Ireland and England? Why not?
Yeah.
Because I think that would generate a lot of interest within the UK.
What format would you have, Foxy?
You what, sorry?
What format would you hold it in?
Well, initially you'd do it like they used to do what the Australians did, called the Benson and Hedges World Series. Yeah. It wasn't a World Series, but it was just 3 teams. So you play a format of, I don't know, 2, 3 one-day internationals apiece. But it means that you don't have to go far. Your carbon footprint's not massive. Your bubble situation is far more limited than it is if you travel to another country. And I just wondered, I think that could be quite refreshing. I mean, Ireland have beat England. I played in a game for Lancashire when Scotland beat us at Lancashire in the B&H. There's a lot of competitiveness in that. And I think I just think that would be a lovely, gentle series.
Yeah.
I'm not
convinced it'd be gentle. I'm not convinced it'd be gentle, Foxy. It'd be a hard-fought series, and it'd be a few words thrown about. I mean,
you know exactly what I mean. When I say gentle, I mean gentle for the environment.
Yeah.
Gentle for all those other respects. There's no such thing as a nice game of cricket. It's not a gentleman's game. It never has been a gentleman's game.
Well, if you happen to get Owen Morgan listening in and Balbirnie, skipper of Ireland, if you happen to get them listening in somehow, we'd be all over having a series like that, a 3-way series. And I guess the Dutch are close by as well. You know, there could be a nice little.
Go the Danish. Yeah, so far, fine.
Get them in. Get them all in. Why not?
Everyone likes the trip to Amsterdam anyway, so we might as well have a game over there.
You do realise that all British people have been banned from coffee bars in Amsterdam? They have. Honestly, it's on the news today. If they just want to come here to get stoned, then they shouldn't be allowed to come.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe old Ali, who left us the review, such an expert, he can maybe sort that out.
Wasn't Ali Maiden, was it?
Oh, might well be.
Ali 6 dots.
Ali 6 numbers.
Foxy, I think you've come up with a gem of an idea. I'm sure I've heard someone speaking around those realms before. Let's fit it in the diary. Let's get it out there. See if we can try and push for something like that. That'd be outstanding.
We'll call it the Length Does Matter trophy.
Yeah,
we'll put the trophy up.
I'll volunteer for being a dressing room attendant.
Yeah.
Jonny, you can tidy up at the end of the day. You can clean the bins and that.
I'll be the bin man.
And I'll be recycle boy.
Foxy, you recycle it. Blue bin boy.
Yeah, that'll be me.
Rushy, with your entertaining skills, you can be the entertainment officer.
I'll score on, mate.
The bubble entertainment.
I think I reckon we'll have a bit of a break from Kyle. I reckon just with that conversation, I think now is a great time. Now is a good time to introduce the new feature, Foxy's topic, because that fits in nicely what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
So, Fox, first one. What's the topic?
International touring. Is it right?
Under COVID restrictions.
Yeah, should we do it? I mean, there are many aspects of international touring whilst we have a worldwide pandemic that I don't think fit within the responsibility of our communities. Right, so our lads are in Sri Lanka, okay? The day they got there, they were all tested. So what you have to bear in mind is before that, they were tested before they left. They were in a bubble. They're away from their family and their friends and all the rest of it. And they get on a plane, and unless it's a specially chartered plane, which I presume it would have been, they'll all have been wearing masks. I guess they weren't. So they land and they're all tested again. And then there's 2 or 3 of them positive, which means that the guy who's tested positive has to self-isolate, which means 10 days in a room on your own, a hotel room in a country that you've never been to or don't know. And your roommate, if you've got a roommate, he's with you. So that puts the rest of the squad in doubt. Let's leave them apart for a minute. They all have to go in secure transport to the ground, secure environment to play this game. Before the first ball is bowled, both teams have been under enormous stress. The entire broadcasting community, the filming community, are also doing likewise. And I'm thinking, is it worth it? Is it worth it for the health of everybody concerned? And also, is it sending out a message? Well, if the England team can go abroad, I can go to Tesco. Well, so those are my thoughts. I am not sure which way I lie on this debate, but is it a good thing that international sport is still going ahead?
Foxy, Sri Lanka or Tesco? I'm not quite... They're a different...
Well, where would you rather go? Where would you rather go right now to feel safe?
As a non-professional cricketer, I have got quite a big view on this one. But what I want to do, Kyle, as an international cricketer who probably plays the majority of his international cricket abroad, first of all, I guess, what are the plans for Scotland this year? And secondly, how would you feel about being in that type of environment? Because I guess between the 4 of us, Kyle is more likely to be in this environment than anybody else.
There's a middle question, Johnny. Have you played an international game under COVID rules?
No, I haven't. It's an interesting one. Look, you've got to make sure everyone is safe, obviously, and you want to be sending the right message no matter what. And I understand, Foxy, what you're saying there actually about traveling. Is that sending the right message for everyone else to be going away? By all accounts, Dubai airport is like an ant farm right now, or has been just prior to, well, within the last 2 weeks, from what I've heard, was like just people crawling everywhere. And there's no way that's going to be a good thing for COVID right now. In terms of playing, if you stick to the right measures and you're willing to stay in that environment and you're okay with it, I don't have anything against it, but you have to be very sure that your environment is being well looked after, because there's some players won't want to do it, and that's okay. But yeah, it's never going to be an exact science, I don't think, with COVID restrictions at the moment. It's always going to be tough.
You have a family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll be honest, I wasn't that keen to go and travel around initially with the first one. I know I was furloughed anyway, but when we did start training again, I didn't immediately start training. I just sort of left it a few weeks to see what was happening. And then when I did go back, it's just about making sure you have to be more prepared, more organized than what you ever have been before, in terms of, I was taking a lot more snacks with me, perhaps, rather than having to go into the shops, just avoiding going to shops and stuff. That's just what
the thing is, though, there is, no matter how well you conduct yourself, there is no guarantee. My wife, Sarah, works very high up in the NHS as a project manager, and she just looks at people and goes, they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. They don't know what they're doing. Now, I'll give you a question. With this new variant of COVID, and don't forget that viruses mutate. So this new mutation will mutate. The old one will mutate again. That's what they do, which is why the flu virus every year, which is a mild thing, it varies every year. So I said to you, right, Kyle, you've been selected to go to a foreign country only for 3 weeks. It's only a short tour. What would you be thinking?
Well, the way things are at the moment, it would be longer than 3 weeks, because you'd have to prepare earlier. You'd have to.
Okay, all right. Give me the time schedule you think. I don't know, 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What would you be thinking? What conversation would you have with your wife?
Yeah. I think the conversation she would have with me would be the more important one. I think she would be like, when you come home, you're not going to be in this house. You have to find somewhere else to stay for.
Would she let you go?
Yeah, I think she would. I think she would, because it's been that long. But with this new variant, I guess I haven't asked myself that question yet with the new variant, because that's all changed. But with the previously, I would have been able to go. I just would have had to find somewhere to stay when I came back for long enough.
Yeah, I've had a marriage like that. But what about your teammates? What about everything? When you consider it all, and I don't know the answer to this, I really, really don't know. That's got to be the hardest conversation ever.
Foxy, when we were going into the first lockdown, it was like, the guys want to, do some fitness and, keep themselves going. And ultimately, we weren't able to do that anyway. They weren't allowed to instruct us anyway, because we were furloughed. But up until that point, before we did get furloughed, I was just like, I was saying to the organization or our coach, and said, like, this is a freak moment in all of our lives. Just let the guys just chill out. Don't make them feel like they need to do something, and don't put them under any extra pressure.
Yeah, we all thought that. all thought that, but it seems to be turning into a longer run.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I think what we've found is actually a lot of people have just kept themselves busy anyway. Foxy, people have wanted to keep themselves active because there's not much else to do. So,
oh God, yeah.
We've actually found a lot of our guys have probably got fitter. I'm not saying they've maybe got stronger because you haven't been able to get into gyms necessarily, but guys have been pretty active. And that's
do you think it's responsible of governing bodies to keep trying to organise overseas tours?
I think the challenge is if someone picks up something just the week before you leave, how far does that spread, and how dangerous it could possibly be, but it could put the whole tour on. You know, that's a lot of money going away. But that's not even considering someone getting really seriously ill.
Worst case scenario, right? The travelling body of, I don't know how many players go on these tours now. It used to be 16. Let's just pretend it's 16. So 16 players go abroad to play against a squad of another 16 players. Worst case scenario is all 32 are wiped out.
Yeah.
That's a generation.
What do you mean? What, wiped out, but properly wiped out?
They all get it and they all die.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I think the numbers. You know, not that I'm not saying I'm an expert at all about this, because I've read some people something out on social media and got absolutely nailed for it. There's a lot of conspiracy theories.
Oh, don't worry.
So
we all get nailed for stuff.
I'm holding my hands up early. I'm just giving my opinion, my views. But yeah. Sorry, Johnny, you want to say something?
No, I didn't want to say something. I think for me, I think we've all got a view. We've all got a bit of a view on this stuff. And Kyle, carry on, because I have got a view on this stuff as well.
Yeah.
No, go on, Johnny. Say what you're thinking. Say what you think.
I think for me, right. I think as a fan, right. I'm not a professional. We all know, right. I'm not a professional cricketer. If we think about the first lockdown, I think, you know, and for me, cricket for me is a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
Cricket for me is something I love. It's something I love to watch. And look, I'm not in the habit of, you know, I don't believe that we should be putting people's lives at risk just for my entertainment or just for other people's entertainment, right? Now, obviously, some things happened somewhere along the way where Mo and Ali has ended up with coronavirus, right? The boys tested positive for coronavirus. But if you think about the job that the ECB had done in the summer to play 6 test matches, however many ODIs and 2020s, right? They've done an absolutely phenomenal job. And
they have to be commended, to be honest.
And what I'll be absolutely clear on here is they've done a phenomenal job, and not just the ECB, but the fact that probably 4 or 5 teams were prepared to fly here, were prepared to quarantine for people like my entertainment, right? Because cricket is a sport that people enjoy to watch. Without the fans, without people wanting to watch it, cricket wouldn't exist, right? Now, I guess for me, the topic here is it right to send teams abroad? Is it right for the likes of England to go to Sri Lanka? Is it right for the likes of India to go to Australia, et cetera, et cetera? Now, as paid sportsmen, and I'm not one of them, if they don't think the risk is worth it, surely, Foxy, right? That is up to the player to say, no, I'm not going. I don't want to live in a bubble. I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. There's a really good example of a kid, like the kid Tom Banton, who'd lived in a bubble with the ODIs and the 2020s and stuff, played in the IPL. I don't know whether he played in the IPL. Someone correct us if I'm fucking wrong here. But he went, I'm not going to BBL because I don't want to do the whole, I want to be away from my family, blah, blah, blah. That's my view. And it might be an uneducated view. It might be this, it might be that. But as a cricket fan, I guess it's on the players to say, I want to do this and I want to do that. But if you look at the job the HFA done in the summer for touring nations, I do believe it is a risk worth taking, because actually we think about the first lockdown, there was no football, there was no cricket, anything like that. And yes, is this virus mutating? I'm not here to debate that, whether it is, whether it isn't, stuff like that. My belief, as long as the conditions are right, players are happy with the conditions, and I genuinely don't see an issue with international touring at this moment in time.
I just think it's a bit negligent. I think it's governing bodies trying to. I mean, the reason there were test matches this summer is So the ECB, I believe, could guarantee the money from Sky. I also know that if you're a young player and you're invited on a tour,
you're not going to say no.
If you say no, you might not be considered. There are all sorts of issues, and I don't have any answers to it at all. I just think it's a massive debate, but I just wonder whether it is really, really safe, and we should be putting young players under that stress to go abroad. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would, if I'd have been a player right now, I don't know which way I would have gone. I probably would have said, yes, I'll go on tour, because I'd be, one, honoured to play for my country, but two, scared I might never get the opportunity again. And I'm not sure they are the correct reasons for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, look, professional sports still allowed to train, practice, play. Elite sport, they class it. I'm not sure many cricketers are elite, being honest. But yeah, I think there's probably a financial thing in there. Definitely, Foxy, I probably tend to agree with you there. The financial thing, minimising losses of funds, perhaps. But ultimately, what cricket players are doing when they're playing is they're offering opportunity for people who are stuck in their houses to view.
Oh God, yeah.
So I'm not sure we could class them as key workers necessarily, but in some way, I know I sat and watched the cricket in the summer because there wasn't much else to do, and when the football's been on, people watch. So.
See, I also feel sorry for the players, because when I played, which was last century, I knew that I only had so many seasons in me. So at the end, every September, I knew that was one less I had. And right now, there are vibrant, young, great cricketers missing the prime time of their life. And I feel for them. I really feel for them.
But Foxy, do you blame them for wanting to go and play in these tournaments?
Oh God, no, not at all. No,
and doing this and putting themselves at risk to do that, because I think, if I think, you've said yourself, your wife works in the NHS, and you think about all these people that work in the NHS, that are key workers that work in supermarkets that do this and do that. They kind of do that because they have to, but they do it out of a sense of duty.
Yeah.
As a professional cricketer, and Kyle, Rushy, your current professional cricketer.
I get where you're coming from, Johnny.
There's a sense of duty there, isn't there? Surely.
But one of my thoughts when I went to India touring with England was I got there and I'd never really met beggars before, and there were all these people coming up to me asking for money. They had limbs missing and all sorts. And it really upset me. And I knew that no matter how much money I had, if I had all the money in the world, I couldn't solve their problems. And the only solution I could come up with was, if I can put a smile on their face by playing cricket well, I'd done my job.
And as a fan of cricket, that's lovely. That for me, like.
That was how I got through the tour.
And I don't know whether some of these guys feel like that as well. And don't get us wrong, there's a financial element, right? Cricketers go to work, they earn money. But ultimately, I look at cricket as a non-professional cricketer, and I see cricket as entertainment.
Yeah, but it is.
Cricketers can entertain.
I tell you what it is. It's high-skilled entertainment that the audience has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
People don't understand how skillful Rushy is, what he does, how he sets people up, what he's doing with the ball, how he gets people out. Just people watching it will think, brilliant. they have no idea of the skill that's going on the pitch, and that's okay.
Foxy doesn't need to set you up when he's got 5 slips.
He has to be good enough to have 5 slips.
He's had him before.
Hey?
Sure, he's had 5 slips at one point in his life.
Aye, Kyle.
Come on then, because we've got to move on, right? Kyle, sorry, Paul.
Was my choice of topic good enough?
I think it was good and it's very relevant, but I think we're all kind of sitting the fence, don't we? There's, like you say, there's no answer or solution. Who knows?
No.
It has its benefits. There's obviously massive risk for people involved. What's the right way?
All I wanted it to be, because I didn't have an answer, was it to be thought provoking. That was all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
nailed it.
I guess me and you probably, Foxy, are on the other side of the fence on it. That's fine. The 2 lads are current professional
which
cricketers.
side of the fence am I on? I've never been on the fence in my fucking life.
Well, I'd right. So let's put it this way: I'd fucking send him. You fucking wouldn't.
Yeah, maybe. So I don't think that's the same side of the fence.
We're not on the same side of the fence, is what I'm saying. But anyway.
I think you're just on the opposite side. You're within touching distance, but on different sides. Which is
how green's the grass on your side?
Okay, not very, Paul.
Oh, you see, it's really green on my side. Once you dig away the snow.
Right.
Have you had snow, Rushy, today?
A little bit. We've had a little bit. We've had probably an inch. But 2.5 miles down the road where my brother lives, they've had about 4 inches.
Yeah, we have. We've had a lot of snow today. Yeah.
Yeah, we went off hunting today to try and find somewhere to sled, and it was basically just teasing us. There wasn't anywhere with enough.
A little bit of slush.
Yeah.
About it. Right. Moving on. Jonny, what were you saying?
What?
What were you saying? Are we?
Oh, we've moved on to Rushy having 5 slips. And what a certain day, Kyle.
Yeah. There was
15th of September 2014.
So
that was probably the last time I had to face the Red Bull, Rushy.
Chris has already taught us through it once on this podcast. I want to hear from your perspective.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I was playing for Northants on the day. What did you say? 15th of September? Did you say, Rush?
I think it was.
Whoa, that.
Is it wonder you got so many wickets? 15th of September.
Yeah, it was 4 days before we won the Lord's final. That's why I remember.
And Rushy, was that? Did you guys? Where did you finish in the championship that year? Oh, he's gone to get another drink. He's filling up.
No. Where did we finish in the 2014?
Okay, was that first? We're both in the first division then, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So from a Northants point of view, we got promoted the year before, and we thought, yeah, this is great. Like, yeah, we did well. We got up.
So we played Northants the first game of the season at Northants as a roller, batted for, I think it was about 15 overs for the draw. Like, I think as a roller and David Murphy batted for a long time to block out the draw. And we were like, fucking like tough side. Like, and then I don't think you did it again for the rest of the year.
I don't think we won a game. I'll be honest. I remember that first game because that was the first time I was playing against Durham, I think, since I'd left. And it might have been. We played one other
would
game.
Have been first class game.
Played a 50-over game or a T20 game at Wantage Road at Northants against you guys, which I think we pipped you. But I remember that first class game of the season, and I remember getting an absolute spray from Graham Onions, and he's like, sort of grew up. He's one of the guys we grew up with, and I was getting an absolute spray from him. I was like, bloody hell, you're a different person when you're bowling at us. But it was probably fair enough, really, because I probably nicked him through the slips a few times and that. But Yeah, we back end of the season, we came up to play Durham, 15th of September, as Rushy says, and it's the second day, Rush. I happened to bowl a few overs in the first day, actually, because we were that desperate. But we had a pretty small squad. And
the first day was rained off.
Okay, so the second day I had a bowl in, and you guys got like 400. We had you, I think, a few wickets early down, and then McLeod, another Scotsman, and Colley batted for a while. And I just remember I've got some plans in the evening of the third day, and I thought, well, we're batting third day. We'll I'll go and see a friend in Newcastle. I'll jump in the train in Chesley Street, and I'll go to Newcastle and have some dinner and whatnot. Needless that I wasn't to know that we would be on the bus on the way home that day. But anyway, long story. We
make it as long as you want. Just
went out, and all of a sudden, after Durham getting 400, the ball was doing all sorts. All of a sudden, and I just remember I went in and I think I was playing all right, but Rushy clearly nicked me off. I got nicked off a few times in my career, and I still do get nicked off all the time. But Rushy nicked me off, and then another wicket, then another wicket, then another wicket, then another wicket. Then Andrew Hall went in. And I think Andrew Hall was not out, Rushy. You might be able to remember it clearer than me, but Andrew Hall was not out.
First innings, I think it was not out.
He kept his pads on and went back in at 8 the next second innings. He didn't even take his pads off. He kept his pads on because he's like, it's gonna be all over today. He knew it. He was like, we're playing terrible. And I went out second innings, and we were all talking about it, thinking, right, how are we going to play Rushy? How are we going to get through it? I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off stump guard and I'm going to walk down the pitch every ball. So I don't know if Rushy remember, but I walked down the pitch at you, probably 5 balls out of 6 and over. I might have only lasted 7 balls perhaps, but I walked down the pitch at him thinking, oh, this is all right. He's never going to get me out LBW. He'll be fine. I got a thick outside half in one, and this is where the 5th slip comes in place. I thought, I'm getting off thick outside half. That's all right. I'll get 2 down to third man or something like that. Turned around and there's Ben Stokes standing at about 5th slip, just going like it's just like grasping straight between his legs, caught this ball all over. Honestly, it was I mean, I'm going to say it was a freak day, Rushy, but you obviously bowled.
Oh no, it was
bloody amazingly, but
it was an incredible game in cricket. Like just the way it panned out. Like say, first day washed out, second day we batted all day, maybe even batted for a little bit of that third morning. And then I think it was finished by tea. And it's like, it was incredible. Like, it was.
You ruined my bloody dinner plans. In fact, I'm not sure how much dinner I was going to be having. I'd probably have a couple of beers, but you ruined my plans in Newcastle that night. So
you're speaking
it was a pretty special day, to be honest. To be part of it, actually, it was pretty cool, even though we're on the wrong end of it.
Well, for anybody, right, that is listening to this, who has never heard the podcast before, Rushy took 15 Northants wickets in one day in a county championship game, which is an absolutely unbelievable feat and absolutely unbelievable effort. As Kyle said, a freak day. Rushy, was it a freak day, or is that genuinely the best spell of bowling you've ever bowled?
Nah, not at all. I reckon I've bowled miles better spells and maybe picked up 1 wicket, 2 wickets. Just everything just went my way.
Just one of them.
I don't know. It was one of those days. It took a while to get the first wicket, and then just.
Then it didn't take long to get the next 9 in the first inning.
Then the other 5.
Honestly, it was one of those days. As a bowler, you very rarely feel like I'm going to get a wicket every ball, if ever. But that, I was like, this could happen. It was amazing.
A few days like that, me.
What, when you're batting? Could be out every ball.
When I was bowling, I had a fucking spell of 2 years where every time I bowled, I thought I was going to get a wicket. I didn't get many, like.
Rushy, it's just how you feel when you're batting the Durham nets, to be honest. They do a little bit now and then, don't they?
Well, mate,
Johnny, there is a difference between thinking you're going to get a wicket every ball and actually believing you're going to get a wicket.
No. I look like I was going to get a wicket every ball I bowled. Foxy, trust us.
What were your figures?
Oh, they were honestly. If you could have had a pitch map for a couple of years, right? I'm not joking. If you could have had a pitch map, it would have been no bigger than that phone. Or every ball landed on a patch no bigger than that phone.
Half volley. Half volley leg.
No. Fantastic line and length for the players.
You do all your practice in the back street against the bins, like the big green bins. Cannot miss them.
I'll not ruin the bins, son.
Just
not when I've got to empty them and the rest of the estate.
Johnny, can I ask you a question? As
of course you can.
As a bowler, you're a bowler, right? I'd like to ask you this question.
I'm an all-rounder, Foxy.
Yeah. This is just the bowling bit of your abilities. To you, what was paramount in your bowling? Was it the length of the line?
It was not trying to bowl too fast.
No, that's not what I asked.
Right. So for
what
me,
was more important, the length of the line?
Line.
Wrong.
Line.
Wrong. Completely fucking wrong.
Well, that's why I'm a shit.
That's why you never got any wickets.
Foxy, right?
I never got any wickets.
So I always try to bowl a good line, and the length would always just come. The length came naturally. That's why this podcast, Foxy, is called Length Does Matter, right? Because
my question is, what length came naturally?
Don't you worry about the length, son. The length was perfectly fine, right? Length does matter.
Yeah, my guess is, from what you've just said, that the length that you were looking for will go straight back over your head.
No, never.
No, you didn't bowl at me.
Well, this lockdown's our Foxy.
I
think that's the next podcast, is it? When you're allowed to have a little roll at Foxy.
That's a YouTube special.
Length.
I'll roll my arm over for that.
Me versus Foxy.
Rushy, ask Rushy, what is the most important thing? Length of line.
Hit the seam. Just hit the seam, Rushy. Do it.
No. What's more important? Length of line to a good batsman.
Don't say length because he's already just said, "Oh, you fucking talking about it." Right? Come on, Rushy. Be honest, son.
I bowl the same line every ball, so length makes a difference to how you get people out.
Length is
you
the
bowl
most
the same line
important
every ball. So
length does matter.
Yes, it does.
You've never been it off your fucking legs. You've never bowled a wide down leg side.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what line you bowl. If it's the wrong length, you're going. Length is the most important thing.
Well, at the age of 36, I might finally fucking learn something about cricket. I'll tell you what, the fucking Durham, whatever it is, 13th division, is not going to know what's hit them next year.
No, probably COVID.
Aye.
Do not worry about COVID. I'm not worried about the vector on the ball.
Right, we've been recording here, I reckon, just over an hour, so we'll start wrapping it up. But you touched on it briefly, Kyle. That game against England, 2018.
Yeah, I think so.
That was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely class. I think at the Grange, it's quite a closed-in ground with walls all the way around it, and we put temporary stands up, and they did a pretty amazing job, to be honest. And I think we had like 7,000 or 8,000 in there for the Grange. For us, that's a lot. By all accounts, it was fully booked, and from what I've heard, the stories I've heard, is people could hear the roars from miles away from round the Grange. You could probably see by our reactions when we won, that was a pretty massive game for us. But I think the important thing for us, Rushy, was how we played the game, the style in which we played the game. It wasn't in the past, I've come through a few generations at Scotland and some really, really good teams. And there were times that we just wanted to play well. But this time, I'm not saying times people hadn't tried to play even better before, but at this moment in time, we had planned really well for a year out, a whole year out of this game. That was where it was. One day, the chat was, one day we will beat England. Why can't it be now? And that's how we built it up, okay? And we decided that we had to play a certain style of cricket, which we'd been playing beforehand because we'd beaten Zimbabwe and a few other teams leading up to that. And then we'd actually just come back from the World Cup qualifiers. I don't know if you remember, we lost agonizingly by a couple of runs by DL against the West Indies, which would have seen us through, which was tough to take. Boys lying all over, set and that. But this England game, we decided we had to play a certain style. We scored you might have it written down, but we scored 360 or 370 runs.
Cloudy scored runs, didn't he?
Yeah, Cloudy got 150. And we ran it tight at the end. Obviously, a handful of runs at the end, but there was a couple of things that we did in the game that really, really stood out. The way that we played spin through the middle and continued to score. Guys swept the ball really well, and there were a couple of run-outs. If you watch the highlights back, there's 2 run-outs that our coach then would talk a lot about: take and break, collect the ball just in front of the stumps, and we practiced that pretty much every single session. And we had 2 clean takes and take and breaks, which run-outs were like a foot to half a foot out. That potentially changed the game for us. And changed the game. We were they were chasing 370 or whatever it was. But it was a pretty amazing game, to be honest. Bairstow, I've never seen anything like it.
Best to get 100?
That was his 3rd ODI 100 in a row. He got it off something like 50 balls.
Didn't he, early on?
You're on about playing spin now, right? And you said yourself you played spin really well in the middle overs. Obviously, 2 really, really good spinners. Obviously, Mo and Ali, but Adil Rashid, for me, is one of the best spinners in white ball cricket. What's the approach to playing him? What's the game plan to play Adil Rashid?
Yeah, I mean, we've spent a lot of time on, and look, he's a fine bowler. I've played against him loads over the years against Yorkshire and that, and fine bowler. He's got me out plenty of times. He got me out that day as well, actually. And our game plan is you have to keep scoring. You have to keep looking to score. If you're not looking to score, if you're not looking to show that intent to score, then we'll fall behind in the game, because we realised, we say we want to be a 320 team. We had to be even more in that day. Other 320, England would have got it in 40 overs, So, and we had a massive focus on sweeping, and I would actually say that we've got some sweepers of the cricket ball in our team that are as good as there are around the world at the moment, and I'm very confident in saying that. I watched Callum McLeod score 100 against Afghanistan in Zimbabwe, and again, a high pressure game against the number 1 and number 2 ranked spinners in the world right now, Mujib and who's the other Afghan bowler, Rashid. Mujib and Rashid. Yeah, he scored 100 that day on a spinning wicket in Bulawayo. One of the best knocks I've ever seen. So that was probably even better than his knock against England, considering all conditions and everything like that. Yeah. So but the intent has to be there through the middle of the innings, and we're very clear on that, and we've got a really powerful team through the middle of our innings now. So that holds in a good stead in 50 over cricket, where you have to score over 300 to be a top team, and we say we have to score 320.
And what's the ambition for Scotland over the next couple of years, Kyle?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, actually. That's something that I've had a little focus on recently, and I've recently noted it down in my my book of something that needs to be discussed. But with everyone being on furlough, that kind of hits a back burner at the moment, because we're not really allowed to. So, but in my opinion, I see I see full member status at the top. Okay, that might take a couple of years, but we have the T20 World Cup, say an arrow coming down to the left side, a T20 World Cup in October, which is now in India because it's been shifted back because we should have already played that. And if we get through the group stages there, we should come up against some top 10 nations, which I've mentioned before, that if we then beat them, at least one, maybe two, we're not, obviously we've got to be realistic. Like, we believe we're powerful and we can beat any team in any side in our day. When we play
you know how you were saying you've got to beat them within that 7-year period or whatever. Has that period been extended with what's happened this last sort of 8 months or whatever?
That's a good question. Rushy, that's a good question. I think that's something that is busy getting cleared up at the moment, but I imagine it possibly would have done. It would feel fairly hard done by if that wasn't the case. But I suspect it's moved on, giving us maybe add another year for all teams, not just us. So I think the ambition is full member status, but if we can do well at the T20 World Cup, if we get through the first group stage, that automatically qualifies us for the next T20 World Cup the next year. So there's 2 in the bounce, just the way things have worked out. I think it was meant to be a Champions Trophy, and I think they changed it to a T20 World Cup. And then on the other side of that, where the arrow comes down the other side, perhaps, is our ODI cricket, where we've got Cricket World League 2. So for us, we have to finish in the top 3 of that to reach the qualifier. And then if we reach a qualifier, then we've got to qualify. And then, so it's tough.
Qualifier after qualifier.
Qualifier to get the qualifier. So understanding all that, this is where...
Even interesting. You send them Foxy to sleep, are you?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm listening. I was just thinking. I tell you what I was thinking. And I wish you all the best as a national team. What I was thinking was, where is the funding going to come from for this? And I don't know the answer for that, because you're going to need a massive injection of funds to be able to compete.
Yeah, no, that's right, Foxy. We've been Cricket Scotland basically been looking for a major sponsor for a few years now, and we've been to 2015 World Cup. With that, we've been very kind to have a couple of sponsors help us out along the way. But in terms of a major sponsor, that's something that has been a challenge. But considering
being a full test nation, is a very expensive business. And now I wish you all the best, and I hope you find the funding. I was just wondering if you get that status, where it's going to come from. I'm hoping that a lot of Scottish businesses will just want to join in the celebration and help you through it. But the Scottish Cricket Board is going to need a huge injection.
Yeah, no, you're right. You look at the challenges Cricket Ireland have had since a Test match nation. It's been extremely tough for them. But the breakup of the pie, so to speak, from the money coming down from the ICC probably needs to be considered a bit further without getting into any huge amount of detail there. It's probably
good luck with that.
Distributed.
Good luck with that.
And yes, and but cricket boards and ourselves included, we have to find our own income too. So we can't be completely reliant on ICC. So I'm a big believer of that. So look, we need to find something that will help us. You see the challenges, like I said, from Cricket Ireland. Just to have Hawkeye at a game, which is a minimum requirement, costs a ridiculous amount of money at testing.
Yeah, the guy who invented that went to Durham University.
Oh, is it? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any involvement? Did he play cricket?
I'll tell you the absolute truth. He came to me with the idea. I thought it was a good one. I went to the director of sport and said, he wants a small investment. Are we allowed to give it to him? And he said no.
Oh,
Wow.
So there you go.
So Rushy, to answer the question, full member status where we want to get to. Might be a couple of years down the line, perhaps. We've got another 50 over World Cup to qualify for in the best part of 2 years of some backlog competition now. In the immediate, within the next year, will be a T20 World Cup. So we've got a few things to focus on.
Yeah. Do you be as truthful as you can be? How long do you see yourself going for? Do you obviously want to be still playing when you reach, if and when they get there?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Yeah. I've sort of set my sights on playing another 50 over World Cup. So that's a few years down the line yet. Perhaps another 4.
With the home gym and that new love for running, mate, why not?
That's just something I'm going through at the moment. It's just a phase. I guess if the time's right to stop, I've kind of made my peace with the game, and I've been lucky to do what I have done. So I've made my peace. If I have to stop, I have to stop. But I'm going to play as long as I possibly can. I think I will. It'll be a sad day. I'll struggle, to be honest, when I have to call it quits, because I love touring and I love going away and I love being in an environment. And it'll be a real tough day. But we've got some exciting things on the horizon, Rushy, with this team and the team we have. And I sense our team's come to its prime. You know, we've got a slightly older group now that have come through a lot of graft. And I think there's some exciting times ahead. And with World Cups on the horizon, who wouldn't want to keep going if you could potentially play at a World Cup? So Otis Gibson played to when he was 41, Rushy.
Something like that.
41, and I'm sure he took a 10 for. I remember standing at short leg and he took all 10 in the innings, and he was buying a new watch. He's buying himself a new watch every week with all the wickets he was taking.
It's all for us all, then, isn't he?
MVP of the year as well.
Did I? Good luck with everything coming up with Scotland, from all of us, especially. Wish you well. Last one before we wrap it up, because time is moving on. 2007 Friends Provident, back-to-back championships, 08, 9.
Do you mind me interrupting? My battery on my appliance is running low, so if it cuts out, gentlemen, it's been lovely to talk to you. Kyle, especially you, I wish you all the best. I really do hope Scotland become a full nation and they get the backing they deserve. Gentlemen, I am still part of the conversation until my battery runs out.
Good lad.
Thank you.
Good lad, Graham.
Thank you.
So 2007 Friends Provident, where I think you blasted 60 or 70. 2008, 2009 county championships back to back. The stuff with Scotland, MBE, Associate Player of the Decade. You've got a good list. What's your top? Like, what is your favourite sport?
Proudest moment.
Hey, that day at Lords, the Friends Provident. That was a massive day. That was like a dream come true. I've been lucky. You know, I think the memories that we've created over the years, the friendships I've created, have got to be up there. I absolutely love walking into a dressing room and speaking to my mates and having a bit of fun. I absolutely love going to the bar and having a pint after a game after someone's done well. I love enjoying other people's success. I've been honoured to have played the games and won the trophies I have done in England, mate. Bloody hell, it's hard to pick one, but I guess the honour from the getting the MBE. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to say that's up there, going to see the Royal Family. that was pretty class. But yeah, man, I've had a pretty amazing journey, to be honest. Like that's one thing associate cricket does give opportunities to. If you're in a successful era, you get the chance to do some pretty amazing things and playing World Cups, which there's a hell of a lot of good cricketers throughout England who may never get the chance to do some of that. So I've been very fortunate, mate. But
Yeah.
my time at Durham, I hold really fondly. Speaking with you guys being up north, but that time at Durham was some real special memories for me. I got some of my best mates I've ever made then. So,
Kyle, if you play club cricket now?
I play. I'm actually director of cricket at Benwell Hill Cricket Club. So if anyone listening fancies a club or needs somewhere to come and play, Benwell Hill Cricket Club.
I've played Benwell Hill, mate. I smashed a few sixes at them tennis courts actually back in the day.
Did you? Yeah. Well, I never really got onto my bowling actually during this podcast, but I'm not shy of having a little role myself. Actually, I think
underrated.
What I was going to say was actually fucking Benwell Hill. If you want to come and have a fucking hit with me and the boys on a Thursday night down Ryop.
Oh yeah, go on then. Let's have it. Well, what we'll do is
I might be able to squeeze you in.
We'll give you some practice before you have to go and bowl at Foxy. How about that? That sounds a decent plan. Get that organised.
Foxy, he's away. Where is he?
Yeah, his battery's gone. But look, we never quite got onto my bowling, but I'm always a little reluctant to talk about my batting, but my bowling I'll talk about till the cows come home, mate.
Well, as a bowler, I love to talk about my batting. Rushy, I know Rushy doesn't all.
One more first class 50 than you, mate. That's all I'm saying.
I've never got the chance, so no. If I'd been given the chance, I would have lapped it up. No problem.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, Kyle, cheers. Thanks very much for joining us. It's weird, like I say, you only live 200 meters along the road from me.
Is that right?
But it feels like I haven't seen you for a long time. So nice to catch up, and thanks for joining us.
No, I appreciate it, Rushy. No, thanks for having me on. Look,
thanks for coming on, Paul.
Thanks, Johnny. Look, I'll book into the nets at Ryop one day, and
we don't have nets, mate. We just have pre-season beers.
Yeah, well, that's
signing on night. That's if you want to come and play, come to signing on night. We'll have a beer. Get you involved, no problem.
Hey, those who know me know that's probably somewhere down my street. That kind of prep. So we're all good. We're all good. Class, absolutely love it, lads. Good luck getting up the ratings as well. I'll certainly keep an eye out for some dodgy comments along the way and see if anyone else recognises that it's actually Carl Pilkington presenting the show.
Definitely.
Right.
Right. Nice one. Cheers, Kyle.
Cheers, lads. Take it easy.
Cheers, Kyle. Take care, Paul.